right, we will go ahead and get rolling. It is the top of the hour. Thanks for spending your lunch break here with us if you're on the East Coast. We're welcome to the first Marine Marketers webinar of 2025. I'm Catherine Carlson. I am on the education committee here heading up these webinars. Our goal is to do 4 of these this year. So this is the first one. We're so glad you joined us. We have a panel of 3 Neptune Award-winning folks that have put together really great campaigns. And for those of you wondering what the heck an award or a Neptune Award is, it is an annual award given by this organization that recognizes the best marine marketing in North America. So companies of any size can submit their marketing. There are multiple categories. They are judged by a panel of judges both within the industry and outside the industry. They rank the best of the best, and the awards themselves are actually given out at the Miami Boat Show every year. So for this past Miami, we've selected 3 of our winners, and they're here today to give you a rundown of their winning campaigns, challenges they've had to overcome, how they've kind of run through the process of getting their campaigns up and running. And just a few little housekeeping items to get us going. They're going to each present for about 10 to 15 minutes. As we're moving through the presentations, feel free to drop questions, comments in the chat. We're going to address all questions at the end after everybody's presented. So as you're going, if you're thinking of questions for any one of the panelists or all 3, drop them in the chat. We will address them all at the end. And we are so glad you're here. We hope you enjoy our session, and we hope you take away some information that gets you inspired, whatever your role is in the marine industry, and hope you get some insights out of it. So first up, we've got Alex Ostler from Savvy Navy. Alex has 2 decades of experience driving growth across multiple industries, tech, lifestyle, marine. She began her career at Google, where she managed global operations for Google Maps. So today, Alex leads marketing at Savvy Navy, which is often called the Google Maps for boats. And Savvy Navy won the Neptune Award in the Best New Product Launch category. They had a retail program launch that was pretty innovative, tackled some really challenging missions, kind of combining that physical and digital experience. So they did some strategic partnerships and really cool customer touch points. So I will turn it over to Alex so she can tell you all about it.
Great, thanks, Catherine. I will share my screen. Can everyone see it? Hear me okay? Thumbs up. Hoping so. Thanks, Catherine. So as Catherine said, I'm Alex Ostler with Savvy Navy. This year we won the Neptune Award for our Savvy Navy retail launch. Catherine gave a bit of an intro to Savvy Navy, but for those of you who don't know, Savvy Navy is like the Google Maps for boats. So Google Maps works on land when you're navigating from place to place, and navigation solutions for on the water range from paper charts to chart plotters to digital navigation apps. And we are one of those digital navigation apps. So we do charts and routing. We source our charts from hydrographic offices all over the world, NOAA in the US, tidal heights and streams, wind and weather, and then we have points of interest in the US from Waterway Guide and a couple other sources, and all of that comes together to help you route and be safe on the water. As I said, we're a digital navigation app. So we are an app available in the App Store and the Play Store that you can use on a desktop computer, on an iPad, Android tablet, any kind of mobile phone. The challenge for that is that because we're a fully digital solution, we didn't have a way to reach a number of more traditional boaters. So we do a lot of performance marketing, we do some partnership work, And we're finding that there are some segments of boaters who don't live on social media, who aren't searching for things on Google. And we wanted to find a way to reach them and reach them with a solution that we felt was a really good fit for their needs. And that's what Savvy Navy retail program was all about. So we're on a mission to make boating accessible and safe for everyone, whether you're on social media and accessing those digital solutions, or whether you go into your local chandlery or marine boat shop looking for the best tools to keep you safe on the water. So our goals for the campaign were to launch the retail product. That involved figuring out exactly how to package the product, how to communicate it, how to position it. Like it's a tricky tie from a digital product to a physical solution. Then to create a whole new sales function within Savvy Navy to connect with marine distributors and this like very well established, which I'm sure everyone on this call knows about, distributor network and dealer network, and understand how they all connect with each other and in the end provide a really great experience for boaters who are going into those physical locations. And then supporting those marine distributors and the folks working the register at say West Marine, et cetera, in driving revenue for their businesses. So we really wanted to make sure that the way that we were presenting this physical representation of Savvy Navy was monetarily supportive of their business and that we were giving them all the information they needed to provide the best customer experience. Some of our challenges was penetrating a market dominated by some legacy solutions and helping to present what they didn't know. So educating the market on what Savvy Navi is, what a digital navigation app can do, and how that functions the same or differently than other solutions that people were familiar with. Similarly, like educating the distributors and retailers on selling a digital product in a physical format. So this idea of a subscription app can be a hard tie to, the format with which that you buy Savvy Navi. And then kind of like I think a classic challenge as we are doing innovative things in marine marketing is overcoming customer hesitancy towards adopting new technologies. Staying safe on the water requires investing in a trusted source, something that you feel will keep you safe on the water, especially with navigation. So we want to make sure that we really communicated well what we were doing, what our data sources are, and why we were worthy of being trusted to be your navigational tool. So to activate this retail program, we built a distributor partnership network. We provided bespoke support to the retailers and the distributors kind of all up the chain. We went physically to meet with distributors at events and their shops, their businesses, to make sure they really understood what we were doing here. And then in order to grow that network, pushed the program success through PR and media. And I should say, Savvy Navi is a really small team. We're small and we're scrappy. And so when I'm showing some of the work that we did, it was done by just a handful of people, which I think is what we are all most proud about, is how hard everyone worked to launch a program in such a short period of time. So distributor partnerships, we have so far activated 8 countries. We have multiple distributors in some of these different countries. So we started, we launched in October, November of last year and had 4 at the time of our submission for the Neptune Awards. And so now we've doubled the number of countries and tripled the number of distributors within those countries. Like I said, we really thought thoroughly on how we were supporting the retailers and the distributors. So put together a marketing packet full of signage, made sure they had gear to represent Savvy Navi, packaged up those scratch cards, which I'll go into a little bit more detail about in a few minutes, into displays that they could put sort of where it fit in their retail space. We had decals that they could put on the window to let their customers know as they're walking in that Savvy Navi was available there. And then our amazing head of partnerships, David, did a series of webinars for different groups of distributors so that they could get a deep demo of Savvy Navi and understand how to talk about the different value points that we offer. Some of the events that we went to Boot and Mets, just sort of like those big boat shows that I'm sure you're all at too. We also shared a booth at NMMA's Dealer Week with one of our distributors, our US distributor, CED Marine, and then sponsored the CED dealer event, which was a really great opportunity for us to get kind of like that next step lower and speak directly with electronics dealers and understand what their pain points were, what they needed to know about Savvy Navy, and how we could best support them in selling it on. Global PR and media. So we put together a number of press releases, worked all of our contacts in the media, and then did a pretty heavy LinkedIn social campaign. And between those two efforts, that's what really helped us grow the network beyond those first early adopter distributors who sort of took a leap in joining the retail program, and by kind of drumming up continued success and showing that other people were having success doing it, it really has helped us build the momentum as we come into the boating season. So a little bit more about what the product it is itself. The way that it works with Savvy Retail, we have scratch cards. They're basically like a little plastic gift card. On the back of that card is a QR code unique to every card. The boater purchases the scratch card from the retailer, and then they scan that card and they immediately get into the app and have full access to 12 months of Savvy Navy. We have a couple different tiers of subscription types in Savvy Navy, and the retail offering gives you all the features. So the top tier offering at a discount on what we charge in the App Store. So that was another way that we were helping to incentivize boaters to buy the scratch card. They were getting in the US $10 off, and then across the world, international waters, a similar discount. We also set up the program to ensure that the distributors received a pretty generous OEM discount on the scratch cards that they purchased, to make sure that as they were starting at smaller volumes in sales, they were still getting some revenue to allow them to invest in the program themselves. And then we had additional commissions on sales through the retailers. So ensuring that sort of that last touch point on the Savvy Retail program was also getting benefits from selling on Savvy Navy. So results and metrics, kind of have already spoken to this throughout the presentation, but we have secured partnerships in 8 different countries. We have some really dedicated, incredible distributors who are helping us to continue to iterate on the program and make sure that the marketing materials we're providing them, the way that we're educating them on Savvy Navy continues to improve. Some of our like blue chip retailers, we are in Whitworth's Marine and Leisure in Australia and Force 4 in the UK, and then we have some smaller retailers in the US right now. So we're listing their product catalogs, which is just thrilling for all of us at Savvy Navy to see us in print, because we are such a digital product, and continuing to get more and more business there as well. So all in all, we believe that Savvy Navy retail program exemplifies innovation in the marine industry. It's kind of funny, as marketers, we've gone through, I'm sure a lot of us were marketing back 10 years ago when growth hacking and digital tracking allowed you to do such intense digital marketing. And as app transparency has come into play, we're having to pull back and invest more in brand awareness, more in some more traditional marketing tools like print media and otherwise. And I feel that's what Savvy Navy has done too. We came out of the gates really hot in digital, as a digital product and in digital marketing, and we're sort of coming back to the basics and a more traditional product and in marketing channels. And so what's next for Savvy Retail? We're continuing to grow the program, continuing to invest in those distributors, dealers, and retailers who have been engaged with us for the last 9 months or so. And then we're also rolling out a bundling program, which might be interesting for folks on this call. We have a few test brands that we're working with right now. And essentially what we do is provide an offer within the packages they're already sending out. So this example here is with Sway. They're a telemetrics device out of the Netherlands, and we're giving away 1 month of Savvy Navi to everyone who buys Sway. So there's some coordination between Savvy Navi and Sway's product offering. And we believe that by helping Sway give their customers the best experience, we'll be able to continue to grow our market share in terms of digital navigation. That's the end of my presentation. I think I saw a question or two come in. Catherine, do you want to do that now, or should we wait till the end?
Let's go ahead and do it now. So I would love to know how you got the gift cards and scratch cards with unique QR codes on each. I'm guessing that's through an account where you can track each to know which retailer was most productive.
Yes. So can speak sort of tactically to that. We found a scratch card manufacturer out of Poland, actually. They've been incredible to work with, and generate a list of unique codes and send over deferred deep links, which are really important for subscription app. So just like a list of thousands of deferred deep links, and the manufacturer turns those into QR codes and prints them on each unique card. So then within our backend, we can report on which code went with which dealer and distributor, and provide sales reports accordingly.
Very good. And we do have a few more minutes, so there's one more question. We'll just keep rolling through. How many customers signed up as a result?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't have the exact number. If we're looking at the US, I would say we're in about the hundreds of sales. So as we're just coming into the boating season, we anticipate that things will pick up quite a bit. There was just the natural life cycle of going from distributor to dealer into retailer. So we're anxiously watching the dashboards as new sales come in. And which of the promotions do you feel gave you the best ROI? That's also hard to answer. I think it's a tie between the events and our LinkedIn buzz. So, we're in this COVID age. I'm working from my home office. We're accustomed to having like phone calls and video chats, but there's just nothing that replaces a handshake and really getting to know somebody in real life. And so the head of our retail program, Yako, has been on the road nonstop, just going and meeting with people in real life. And events is a great way to do that because everyone's in the same place at the same time. And then because we're in this virtual world, I think building up momentum via LinkedIn has been really successful for us.
Very good. Okay, if anyone thinks of any other questions for Alex, please drop them in the chat, and we'll have one more chance at the very end to answer any further questions. But thank you so much, Alex. That was really great. And next up, I believe we have Stephen Bull from Bulletage Media. He is an award-winning broadcaster and sports host with 15 years of experience in that industry. He was recognized with a Neptune Award as the industry rising star for his latest venture called Waterways TV. It's a bold and innovative approach to storytelling in the marine industry. It's a lot of great content that's engaging and inspiring, and it's sort of a multimedia platform, which is pretty unique in the industry. So here to tell you all about it is Stephen Bull.
Thank you very much. Let's get this going. All right. So the beauty is we're all playing in a really fun space here because boating is great. So who am I? This is a bit different. So Savvy Navy had the the program they're going to walk you through, and Daniel with Winnebago is going to talk about something very specific. Mine, as Catherine said, is about waterways overall and everything that I'm bringing to it. So I won't go through this. I call the Make My Mom Proud slide, but the key is I've got a marketing background, but the key background relevant to this is journalism. For 4 years, I was a daily news reporter before leaving to get into the lifestyle space. But once I entered the boating world on the career side, I'm a long-term boat owner and my family's been growing up on boats, I realized that there was a lot of opportunity to bring all of these techniques and skills, both from the master's degree, the training that I had within Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and bring them to the marine world to help elevate everything. Because today's challenge isn't about being louder. Spray and pray days are done. Anyone can use the meta targeted ads, and you can put your ad in front of just about the perfect target market, the demo that you want. But that doesn't matter if it doesn't connect with them. We're inundated with brands, and we're now inundated with a personal brand. So it has to really connect to me as an individual, which is a tough challenge for the bigger brands out there that are in multiple markets, multiple countries. How do you do this mass customization? Well, that's what we're working on. And the reason that we're focusing on stories is that they work. So this has been, this photo here on the left is considered the oldest storytelling ever, 44,000 years old. There's lots of cave paintings, but on the left, there are stick figures, and on the right is some sort of antelope. And you can see the lines, they're throwing spears. So this isn't just depicting animals, this is showing some sort of action. The point there being that since the very beginning of human communication, we've been using stories to connect. And to sum up what a story is, one of my journalism professors said it's as simple as someone doing something for a reason. And that can take many forms, but they work. So the studies are out there that 22 times more likely to remember a fact if it's built into a story. The example that I use when I've given a storytelling presentation is I usually ask the audience what Jenny's number is, and I'll hum the first few bars, and everyone remembers 8675309. But you probably can't remember your neighbor's phone number right now or something like that. It's all in our phone. But because it's been put into this story, we remember, and it works for business. You're more likely to buy a product if you like the brand story. And believe it or not, Gen Z and millennials report that the reason they like all these short form digital ads and reels is because of the storytelling. But back to the someone doing something for a reason. It doesn't have to be a good reason. Mr. Beast wondering if you can drop a Lamborghini and not break it is doing something for a reason. And so we can learn lessons from this. Another question and an issue that comes up a lot that I've found is people will say no one has an attention span anymore. And that's simply not true, as proven. It was about 5 or 6 years ago when House of Cards came out, a genius move by Netflix, which took all of their research and audience data. They found out people like Kevin Spacey, they liked political thrillers, they liked David Fincher, and they liked watching all at once. So they made a Kevin Spacey political thriller and they dropped all the episodes and people binged watched it. So it's considered the official launch of binge watching. Now, obviously people had done it before, but at the beginning of the pandemic, well, we all remember that cinematic masterpiece, Tiger King, and many of us binge watched that. And podcasts, fastest growing entertainment segment. If people didn't have an attention span, then it would make no sense that the top 4, Good Hang, Mel Robbins, and Joe Rogan Experience, are all over an hour long each. Of those top 4 on the Apple Podcast, this is as of today, only The Daily is under an hour, and it's about 30 to 40 minutes. Good Hang and Mel Robbins are about 1 to 1.5, and Joe Rogan is 2 to 3 hours. So if people connect with it, they want more and more and more. So it's not as simple as just flash as many images in front of them as possible. So this all comes together with waterways. And when I started this, I wanted to take all of these storytelling elements and do something different from my Powerboat TV days, which was a lot about product reviews, gear, and things like that. Spoiler alert, as of 2 days ago, I have officially reacquired that, and we're going to be relaunching it. So we will have the product showcase, because that does matter. It does have a place in the world. But we're going to be bringing the storytelling element to that to connect with the boaters. But waterways is people and places. I call it stories, not spec sheets. And we bring boating to life in a couple different ways. And the reason we do it is because, to steal a line from my father-in-law who sold boats, in the 80s and 90s, he never sold fiberglass in a motor once. He sold access to a lifestyle. And that's what we're all doing, whether it's Savvy Navy, or Winnebago, any of you on the call. We're working in a place where most people in the recreational boating space choose to do it. There's very few that have to own a boat, and those that do, to get to an island, it's often a second home or something like that. So bottom line is we're starting it. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be enjoyable. And what can we do to maximize our time on the water? And there's a couple ways we connect with people. One is we start with the highest level industry leading quality. The fella on the two guys on the right there, the guy in the bucket hat and the sort of camo black shirt, his name's Ed Middleton. They're holding about $135,000 worth of gear just to give that extra high quality look. That happened to be for a Freedom Boat Club shoot that we did. He was poached and used that exact same gear to do the director of photography on a BBC Earth documentary, The Science of Sound, or whatever they're called. I'm beefing with David Attenborough because he stole them from a shoot from me. But quality is not enough. Another way to cut through is big names. Lucky enough to get Neil deGrasse Tyson as a guest for the first season of Waterways in 2023. But that doesn't really matter, because while I view it as I'm working for the boater, I'm trying to connect them with you, the OEMs, the service providers, and I want to be that conduit and that trusted connection for everyone. But having the audience doesn't mean influence. You could have Joe Rogan say your brand messaging, but it's probably not going to move the needle in terms of sales as much as a 30-second conversation with your neighbor at the marina. So authenticity is another huge element in the secret sauce of what we're trying to do here. And so where we come from is the authenticity is from the safety side and the industry side. So I've been asked to speak at the International Boating and Water Safety Summit. That's the Boating Ontario conference on the left and the American Powerboat Association Hall of Champions night on the right. Like those old ads for the Hair Club for Men. I'm not just the president, I'm also a client. I'm also a boater. We spend most of our summer in Toronto living on our boat. On the left is a shot of me commuting in to do the CBC Olympic broadcast. And on the right is my 9-year-old Hurricane that loves fishing and boating. So we bring all this together with the authenticity. And here's an example, one of our most popular ones you can watch on YouTube. I bought an old boat. The idea was, how do I reach newer boaters? How do we tell a story to someone that doesn't have a lifetime of boating love and experience with them? So I set a budget of $15,000 and I was going to buy a used powerboat and take it on a massive journey. So I found a 1994 Monterey 265. I bought it and took it from Toronto to Montreal, Montreal to Manhattan. So 750 nautical miles. I made it clear you should not do this with your first boat. It's not what a starter boater should do, but this is a starter boat. I didn't have any special tips or tricks or anything. It was the old motor in there. We did the basic maintenance. And just to show that you don't need to spend $1 million to have these unforgettable experiences. But within the story, we're able to work things in, whether it's how to navigate the Champlain Canal, how to cross the border, little tips and tricks on safety gear. We put a side shift aftermarket thruster on the boat because as we worked into the story, we didn't have control with a single screw boat as we came in, and showed, hey, here's what you can do. If you buy a house, you think blank slate, we can reno it as we want. You buy a boat, you think that's it. So we're trying to open people's minds versus do the hard sell on Waterways. But it's not just TV. As Catherine mentioned, we're multi-platform. Quite literally, anywhere I'm able to tell a boating story, I will do it. So on the left is a seminar at the Toronto International Boat Show. The Vancouver show flew us out to do some there as well. On the right, we started doing podcasts. That's the Ontario Minister for Sport that joined us. And thanks to that and how we did, this is the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, who came to help launch our regional shows, Waterways Ontario. And while he was on board, their camera crew filmed some extra messages for them as well. Just happy, again, that we're helping tell, in this case, the provincial story, sort of proof of concept. And that's something we're going to be rolling out because, as I mentioned, the issue that the big OEMs have is trying to appeal to people in Seattle and Key West and Oshkosh. Very similar love for the water, very different ways that we relate to it. So you can't just have the one size fits all. So we've developed a sort of mass customization approach for storytelling where we centralize production, have the higher quality, and we're going to be rolling it out. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes show and tell works. You don't have to have an epic narrative every time you put something out there. Safety things, for example, what does a Mustang inflatable PFD look like? What does the belt PFD look like? How do you refill them? How do you tie a cleat? We don't have to do that really annoying thing that happens with recipes that you want to find out how to make spaghetti carbonara, but you have to read about someone's epic day in the rain and they walked home with their dog and their shoes were wet and they thought, if only I could be warmed up like back home, and you have to scroll and scroll. Just show them what it is. But other times you can use, and I'm going to finish this off with an example from one of the stories or shows. I'm going to tell you a story about Mayday. So what we could have done, because we have a safety messaging throughout the show of, I like to call it 60 seconds of safety. We're not firm to that. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're a little bit shorter. But I could have just said, hey, if you're in danger and life's in distress, you use the term Mayday. And that's just, and then you use pan for this and you use this for that. But if you're new to the world, you're not going to remember that. So instead, we package the message of when and why you use Mayday into the origin story when doing an episode that found us in St. John's, Newfoundland. At the top is Signal Hill, where Guillermo Marconi received the first wireless transatlantic radio mission. And that started changing everything. Pretty quickly, you were able to have voice, not just Morse code. And around the early 1920s, there was a lot more airplane traffic, particularly between Paris and London. Language issue there. What are they going to say that they can both understand in both languages? Traditionally on ships, you had SOS, but you're tiny planes, you didn't have room for a radio operator or all that heavy gear. And saying SOS, one, is garbled on radio, and two, doesn't really deal with the language issue. So they took the phrase Venez m'aider from French, which means come help me. It was actually an English air traffic controller who took the last part of Venez m'aider and anglicized it a little bit. Mayday. Mayday doesn't sound like anything else they were regularly using on the radio. It came from something meaningful. And just 4 or 5 years later at the International Radio Telegraph Convention in Washington, they made it official and put it in there that it is officially the distress call used when your life is in danger. So I've actually heard from people about that one, which doesn't sell any of your products, which is not the point, but people like that and wanted more of them. So the storytelling connects. You can work with it with your brand. Marshall McLuhan in 64, I think it was, said the medium was the message. That was revolutionary back then. Television, all of this stuff made the world seem smaller. But people like my son who've grown up being able to make content, to speak to his friend in Florida and play video games, it's not special. The medium isn't. We're putting Neuralink transmitters in people's heads now. So now it's the content. As I said at the beginning, the authenticity and the connection is what really cuts through the clutter. Make me feel like your brand cares about me and I will listen. So start with your message, start with your audience, and then tweak it based on the channel. And the customer data, that's another thing. Let's not leave all of these chips on the table. We're developing service as a software sort of long-term play of the more people are searching for stuff and asking questions, collect all of that. Let that drive your decisions. And you can do micro content. Not everything has to be a huge campaign. The huge campaigns cut through for sure. But if you are a smaller company on this call, you don't have to have a big budget. Authenticity, specific content, that wins the day more often than not. And I hope I stopped sharing.
You did. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
That was great. Any questions? We have a couple of minutes. So any questions for Stephen? We got one here. Beyond just view counts, can you share any data that highlights the tangible impact your work has had for other companies? Engagement quality, conversion rates, customer acquisitions, or long-term brand growth?
Yeah, the highest one, without getting too in the weeds, I would say the most recent would be Lebeaut. So UK based, they started in Europe. They're the world's largest canal boat rental company. They have 2 locations in Canada now. When they launched in 2019, I was with Powerboat TV and we did their first content. It was lifestyle based. They loved it. So when I launched Waterways, we kept doing it as well. And people book directly after our episodes air, first on our multi-channels, 4 different TV channels, and then online as well. So they've actually set up a link and an affiliate program because we provide that trusted third-party kind of sale. So people, basically, in short, people are booking vacations because they see things. The other, the exact numbers like the conversion rates and click-throughs are a deeper dive based on analytics. But for me, the fact that the best proof point is that I don't even have to reach out to the boat. They actively call me. They called us. They're sending my wife and son and I to do a piece in 3 weeks. They have a new boat coming out in Europe, and they want us to be the first ones to do the lifestyle piece. So to me, that says more than anything that they want to do things. Other question: how do you measure successful episode? The short one. So viewership. So our primary focus has been legacy broadcasts and television, which might sound a little bit backwards. I have two reasons for doing that. The first one is the studies, much like storytelling, show that without doubt, television in terms of video is the most trusted versus online. And that's because in many places, like where I am in Canada, I have to jump through a bunch of hoops to be able to meet the qualifications to be on broadcast. So you can't just say whatever you want, like how Facebook got rid of fact checkers and you can say anything. And two, not everyone, particularly boating's, the demo skews a little bit older, and the people that have not cut the cable are in that slightly older rate. And if you haven't cut the cable, it's because you wanted to keep it. So we get 167,000 viewers on average per episode, which I always like to point out is 1.5 Miami boat shows. So yeah, it's only 20 minutes, but that's 1.5 Miami boat shows that have tuned in on legacy channels to say, hey, Steve, what do you think we should do? So then again, this is starting off early. And then, of course, you can look like on YouTube, you can see Waterways TV, our views. The top viewed one is Neil deGrasse Tyson, which is about 117,000. And then that used boat one is very, by far, other than Neil, the top viewed with 60 to 70. And they're longer views as well. So back to that authenticity versus views, I tell everyone, we've seen videos of someone walking into and falling into a mall fountain because they're on their phone, and we've maybe all seen those. I don't think they sold a single mall fountain or cell phone because of that. So just seeing it isn't enough. You have to connect with people. So that's sort of our approach.
I had Alistair threw in the chat if you can share a link. You don't have to do it right this minute, but that would be great. And I have a question for you too. Can you talk a little bit about your content strategy and generating ideas for content? Are you sort of organically coming up with them as your viewers are asking, or do you have a strategy that you're sort of following internally? How do you come up with interesting and content that people want to watch?
Yeah, so it's a sort of a two-part answer. How I came up with the content at first was based partially on my own personal experience from what I remember from Powerboat TV, or what I, as a boater, wanted to know, and then just speaking with boaters that I knew. And then once it was established and I had something to then go to market, because we did audience research and concept testing, then it's a combination of working with the partners, because the audience doesn't want to be told exactly what to do, and I don't know your business as much as you do. So what are your goals? What do you want to do? And then that's where we come in. We can figure out that connection for, these are the kind of things that resonate with people. Here's how it might work with what you're doing. Let's find an overlap, or we can come up with something new. Long term, we are developing the insights platform and program with the acquisition of Powerboat TV, which is going to have more products and how-tos and DIYs and things. People search that. People search how-to is the most searched term on YouTube. They're going to be searching through here. So instead of just in the short term directing them where they want to go, and everyone should do this. It'd be great if you came and did stuff with us. Do it yourself somehow, and then capture everything people have historically been searching for. And over time, you have your own, micro database. It doesn't have to change the world. So then that can drive your decision. So that's what we'll be doing as well. A combination of working with partners, our own original ideas, but then data driven, but not entirely reactive. One of my favorite quotes is Henry Ford. If I asked the people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Very true. Yes. Okay, any final questions for Steve? If you come up with any more, drop them in the chat. We can address them at the end. Thank you, Steve. That was great. I learned a lot. I didn't know the May Day story, so thanks for
See,
thanks
the
for
more you
sharing that.
know, we need that image up.
That's right. Okay, we're going to move on to Dan Sullivan. Dan is with Winnebago. He's the director of communications. Winnebago, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Winnebago, but Winnebago is a manufacturer of outdoor lifestyle experiences, which include a bunch of boating brands, Barletta and Chris Craft and Newmar. So Winnebago won the Neptune Award for Best Marketing Innovation. They did a campaign called The Dock, which included most notably building part of a boat inside a baseball stadium. So Dan, take it away.
Great. Thanks. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the team at Winnebago Industries, thank you for having me join you today to discuss our in-stadium activation, The Dock. I was able to connect with some of you earlier this year in Miami and look forward to strengthening our connections further. As Catherine said, we are Winnebago Industries. If you aren't familiar with us, we do make a full suite of RV and marine products under the Grand Design, Winnebago, Newmar RV brands, and then Chris Craft and Barletta are our marine brands, along with the Lithionics lithium-ion battery company. Our corporate headquarters is in Minnesota, but we manufacture our products in Iowa, Indiana, and Florida. And our brands are each unique in their legacy, but with more than 5,000 employees, we are united around this belief that time together outdoors is priceless and that our products can elevate every moment you spend with your family and friends outside. And that's what drives us forward. So when we talk about The Dock, which we will dig into, it's important to take a step back and think about it in the context of a broader partnership that we have with the Minnesota Twins, which are our local MLB team here in the Twin Cities. Last year, we announced our partnership with the Twins, and we became the official outdoor adventure partner of the team, which also includes being the official RV partner and the official boat partner for the team. This was the first sports sponsorship for Winnebago Industries and really our first kind of big national enterprise level sponsorship. We had been a single RV brand for 60-some odd years, and then 8 years ago became a parent company or a house of brands with our first acquisition. And so this was our first kind of big foray into the world of having the enterprise brand be represented in a public way beyond just our OEM brands. And so we started this sponsorship with kind of three main objectives. As I said, we were recently our existence as a portfolio company is relatively a recent phenomenon. And we wanted to raise our profile and our awareness of our family of brands, especially that we had marine brands, because we are, with the name Winnebago Industries, obviously you think of RVs. And we also wanted to be thought of as a key player kind of in our home state of Minnesota, when the Winnebago brand was founded in Iowa and often thought of as an Iowa company because of that. We also wanted to use our local sponsorship to engage with our current and future employees while supporting the communities where we live, work, and play. And we wanted to create opportunities for our dealers and our employees, and importantly, our customers, to interact with our enterprise brand and our OEM brands in a different way than maybe they previously had. So our full sponsorship of the Twins, which I'm happy to talk about offline if you have any questions or is interested, is really multifaceted. So I'm going to spend just a second on that. As part of our agreement with the Twins, we get in-stadium product display, digital and physical signage around the stadium, radio and broadcast mentions, in-stadium TV wraps, social content with the team, which I saw Coral from River Valley. River Valley is a dealer partner for our Chris Craft band, and they've helped us wrangle some boats for players and former coaches out on Lake Minnetonka here in Minnesota. And we've had opportunities for employees and our dealers to activate and engage with us and the team. But today we're talking about the Dock, and the Dock is really an exciting piece and a key pillar of our activation with the team. The Dock itself is a premium fan experience and in-stadium suite that's located in the right field of Target Field, which is where the Twins play. It's designed to look like the deck of a boat, and so we combined elements from both our Chris Craft brand and Barletta brand to celebrate Minnesotans' love of lake life and the outdoors. And since we had an RV also displayed in the stadium, the Dock really gave us a chance to showcase our marine brands in a really fun and engaging way. So here's a little bit more.
We're at section 137. I want to bring you up closer to where I am right now because this is called the dock.
The dock. This is going to be called the Winnebago dock.
Up near the dock, and that's going a home run.
Presented by Winnebago Industries.
Partnership between the Twins and Winnebago Industries. This is the dock. We put a pontoon boat in Target Field.
Lardick sends it to right field and deep. Back it goes, deep it goes. Devers to right field, hit a ton. This one towards the dock and gone. Kepler sends it to right field, hit pretty well. This one towards the overhang and off the Winnebago Industries limestone facing.
Max is going to get himself a new RV. This ball hit right in the middle of the Winnebago sign. Get that man a camper.
You two ever thought about sitting in a boat and watching a baseball game? I certainly haven't, but what a great idea by Winnebago Industries. Yes, I am sitting in a pontoon just up from Max Kepler in right field.
So you can see it's a really fun in-stadium experience, and we wanted it to be really authentic. So we used synthetic teak, real Barletta bench seats made by our friends over at Lippert, Catherine's company, Chris Craft pedestal seats, authentic cleats. It has the signature Chris Craft bugle horn on it, and it even has this, I think I get such a kick out of, especially during the night games, has red and green like working nav lights on it, which look awesome when it's dark in the stadium. And we really wanted to replicate the feeling of enjoying a day on the boat and maybe watching a baseball game or listening to a baseball game with family and friends. And I got to say, the view from the dock is great. It's an awesome game day experience. We have the area roped off to help it make it feel like a really premium experience, because we wanted to pull through both Chris Craft and Barletta, our premium brands. We wanted that premium story to be felt kind of with the fans. So it is roped off, and the Twins are supporting the experience even further. They worked with their food and beverage vendors around where the dock is in the stadium to have drinks and food that kind of supported the up north vibe. So there's walleye fish sandwiches, there is s'mores flavor and mixed cocktails. They've got a lot of like lake themed and camping themed food and beverage to make the experience really fun. And it's really a visible thing. So we do have some prominent in stadium signage, but you know, this photo on the left is like a marketer's dream to have the parent brand and the sub brand. And like, there's a real physical visual hierarchy in the stadium, which is really cool. The brands, the Chris Craft and Barletta brands are really prominent and visible on the front of the boat. And it looks really nice kind of day or night and in all weather. The dock itself was a first of its kind seating area. So we did get a lot of great coverage from a lot of the sports business publications when it was first launched. And I've heard from a lot of other teams looking to replicate something similar. The Twins sell it as a premium suite outdoors. It seats 12. It comes with the food and beverage credit on the ticket. And in the first year, we're really excited that it's sold out. And now in our second year of our sponsorship agreement with them, it continues to sell really well. The fans have really gotten into it. I see photos of people wearing captain's hats and fishing vests when they buy the seats. And so that's really fun to see. And it's also great. It's really, the location is ideal. It's in the most heavily trafficked area of the stadium. So even if you don't have tickets to this seat, it generates a lot of significant interest from fans as they walk by, and it fits into the broader activation that we have as a company. So the results from our first year were really strong. We're really happy with them, and it gave us a platform to extend and expand our activation this year. So both our brands saw in-market year-over-year growth in sales, and we were able to conduct over 4,000 product demonstrations through our brand ambassadors who have iPads that can pull their products up and capture over 1,700 leads, which we shared with our teams. And as I mentioned, our goal was to raise awareness that we had a portfolio of brands, especially that we had marine brands in our portfolio. And as you can see, we're off to a pretty great start with a nearly 800% increase from fans recognizing that we now have marine brands. We do a preseason and a postseason survey to track our impact. And we also saw material increases in trust, preference for our brands, and recognition of Winnebago Industries being a leader in outdoor recreation, as well as really strong media and digital media impressions. I'm sure someone will ask, how much does this cost? Which I can't share, but I can share that we, from just media value equivalency alone, surpassed the investment we made in this partnership in year one. So, off to the races here and hoping to have a really strong second year this year. Three kind of takeaways that I would just share with this group are, one, to stay authentic to our brands. It was really important to us, like I mentioned, that the boat felt real. And so we used real materials and we wanted it to feel really premium. So like if you sit in the Chris Craft pedestal seats, I mean, it's amazing how comfortable and nice. They even have the bolster. So if you have kids who are sitting in that front row, they can sit up high and see over the edge. And the Barletta and Chris Craft brands are very different brands with different identities. And so we did the best that we could to kind of blend two different aesthetics and maybe two different audiences in a way that didn't detract from either one of the brands, but also told the cohesive kind of premium boating experience. Second is to pick partners who are invested in your success and then in turn invest in their success. So we've had a great working relationship with the twins. And the activation really serves both of us. The twins get a unique fan experience that drives revenue. Again, they sell these seats as part of their suite package. And in turn, they've been very flexible with us in terms of how we built out this stadium. We were able to take some really underutilized real estate in the stadium and turn it into this cool experience. And they take care of it. They clean it for us, maintain it, cover it in the off days. And so it really works well for both of us. And I think, it's important that your partners want to see you be successful and you in turn want to see your partners be successful. And finally, and this one, it may be obvious, but keep having fun and iterating and look forward to ways to extend your brand story. We've had a lot of fun with this partnership, especially the dock activation. And even though we had a good first year, we're continuing to look for ways to expand the partnership, our company's awareness within our audience, and certainly our impact as a small but mighty marketing and communications team. So thank you for listening today. Let me know if you have any questions.
Very cool. What questions do you guys have for Dan? We've got one here. Let's see. When you extend campaigns beyond the traditional marine audience, were they effective in converting non-boaters into the boating world? Like, are you reaching new boaters or new people that aren't boaters?
That's a good question. I would say that one of the goals wasn't to convert new boaters into boaters. The main primary goal was to raise awareness of us as a company in Minnesota and that we had a portfolio of brands. So a lot of the activation wasn't geared towards that. So I can't say with any confidence that, yes, we have converted boaters, but I also can't say that we haven't converted boaters. I think for us, we wanted to just showcase what a great time you can have outdoors, especially on a boat, and have that positive association with our brands.
Very good. All right. What other questions do we have? How do you measure the effectiveness beyond brand awareness?
Sure. So we have a full suite of tools and metrics and KPIs that we track. So dealer engagements, leads, obviously from the traditional ones, media impressions, sentiment, numbers of posts, new followers gained on social. We have part of our contract with the Twins. We do social content with the Twins and their players. So we measure engagement there. We measure ticket utilization from our employees. We said we do a pre and post survey on awareness, trust, preference. And then we also work with like Nielsen and others to measure the media value. Obviously, a lot of the value in the partnership comes from the broadcast of the games on TV. And I'm sure you saw, there was a post on their Instagram from the New York Yankees and their 3 million followers about Aaron Judge hitting a home run, which we lost that game, so we try not to talk about it. But yeah, we give a full suite of traditional and kind of some unique to the situation metrics, like I said, ticket utilization or dealer events, employee engagement, etc.
Great. And one final question. You mentioned a multi-year partnership. Was there a length of time or contract for how long the dock will be there?
Yeah, the dock is a permanent structure, the space that it was in, they used to use for like ADA seating, and then they moved where that was, and so it was literally just a concrete slab that they had out there. So we worked with an agency to build the structure, and it's permanently bolted in the ground. I can't say it's going to exist in perpetuity, but we tend to have it in there for the life of our partnership with them, unless we decide to go in a different direction. And Roxanne, I see your question. The Twins got off to a slow start. We're battling. We're on like a 6-game win streak, and we're climbing fast in the AL Central. So root for the Twins if you don't have a team.
Yeah, fingers crossed they continue to do well. All right, any final questions for any of our panelists? We're coming up on the end here. If not, thank you everyone, and thank you especially to our panelists for sharing these great campaigns. 3 very different campaigns, all very exciting, and it was, as I was kind of listening, it struck me that there are a couple of common threads that I think we can all take away. One is authenticity, right? All 3 of you mentioned the authenticity that you had to bring to each of your respective campaigns. And 2, I thought it was interesting. You all mentioned an element of in-person events and building relationships, and really, Alex, I think you mentioned like a handshake doesn't, it is a good substitute for all of the digital campaigns, that we think we have to do. So really good stuff. I hope everyone took something away from this session. I am going to drop a link to a very, very brief survey. It's only 3 questions. Just let us know how we did, how we can do better in the future on these webinars. Our goal for marine marketers is to do 4 of these this year. So we've got 3 more to go. So please keep an eye out for the upcoming webinars. And again, thank you to everyone who attended, and thanks again to our panelists. I thought it was a great session. So have a great day, everyone. Appreciate your time and attendance.
Thank you very much, Dan.